The town of Rivermore was the very picture of peaceful. Nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering willows, it was the kind of place where time seemed to move a little slower. But even in a town like Rivermore, darkness could find a foothold. It arrived on a crisp November evening, casting a long, cold shadow over the town's tranquility. When a concerned neighbor, Mrs. Hathaway, finally decided to check on Anna, what she found sent a shock wave through the heart of Rivermore, shattering the illusion of peace once and for all. The flickering blue and red lights of police cars sliced through the darkness, casting an eerie glow over the usually serene street. A cordon of yellow tape marked the boundary between the ordinary and the unthinkable. The news spread like wildfire. Anna was dead, taken in a senseless act of violence that defied the very soul of Rivermore. Inside the cottage, the scene was a grim tableau. Anna's lifeless body lay sprawled on the living room floor. The room felt cold and sterile under the harsh glare of the forensic lights. Every surface seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the secret of Anna's untimely demise. The seasoned detectives felt a chill run down their spines as they surveyed the crime scene. There was an unnerving stillness to the air, a sense of something being terribly amiss. The lack of forced entry and undisturbed valuables pointed to a chilling possibility, that Anna knew her killer. The investigation began immediately, a race against time to catch a killer lurking in the shadows. Detectives fanned out through the community, ready to record every whisper, every rumor. But as they soon discovered, the truth in Rivermore was a tangled web of secrets, lies, and hidden resentments. The residents of Rivermore, their faces etched with a mixture of grief and suspicion, could offer little in the way of concrete leads. Anna, they all agreed, was a beloved member of their community, a woman with a kind word and a helping hand for everyone she met. Who would want to harm such a gentle soul? As the hours turned into days and the initial shock gave way to a gnawing fear, the question echoed through the quiet streets of Rivermore, unanswered and unsettling. Yet, amidst the uncertainty and fear, a glimmer of hope emerged from an unexpected source, a silent witness. Max, the elderly golden retriever belonging to Anna's next-door neighbor, had been unusually agitated on the night of her death. His deep barks, usually a comforting sound, had taken on an urgent, almost frantic edge, as if he sensed something was terribly wrong. At first, Max's behavior was dismissed as mere canine anxiety, but as the details of Anna's murder came to light, a chilling possibility began to dawn on the investigators. What if Max hadn't just been barking at the night? What if he had witnessed something crucial to the investigation, something that could unlock the mystery of Anna's death? The seemingly insignificant detail about Max's barking took on new significance, becoming a beacon of hope in the darkness. Could a dog, a creature incapable of human speech, hold the key to solving the murder that had shaken Rivermore to its core? The detectives, desperate for any lead, were determined to find out. They turned their attention to Max, hoping his keen senses had captured something that had eluded human observation. Max, a gentle giant with soulful brown eyes and a heart of gold, found himself at the center of the investigation. His usual demeanor, a blend of quiet dignity and playful enthusiasm, had vanished, replaced by a subdued anxiety that tugged at the hearts of the detectives. Could this aging golden retriever, his muzzle dusted with gray, hold the key to unraveling the mystery that had gripped their small town? The investigators, accustomed to dealing with human witnesses, found themselves in uncharted territory. Max, unable to articulate what he had seen or heard, could only communicate through his behavior. His whimpers, his restless pacing, his persistent attempts to draw attention back to Anna's silent cottage, all hinted at a story he desperately wanted to tell. Dr. Emily Carter, a renowned animal behaviorist, was brought in to help decipher Max's cryptic language. With gentle hands and a calming presence, she observed Max, noting every twitch of his ears, every flick of his tail, every subtle shift in his posture. She listened patiently as he whined softly, his mournful cries echoing the sorrow that hung heavy in the air. Dr. Carter's initial assessment was both intriguing and frustratingly vague. Max, she explained, had clearly witnessed something traumatic on the night of Anna's death. His heightened anxiety, his reluctance to approach certain areas of the house, and his persistent focus on specific scents all pointed to a deeply ingrained memory, one that filled him with fear and unease. But without the ability to question him directly, piecing together the fragments of his memory would be a daunting task. Undeterred by the challenges, the detectives delved into the world of canine senses. They learned that a dog's sense of smell, thousands of times more acute than a human's, could detect subtle changes in the environment, even days after an event. Sounds, too faint for human ears to register, were often clearly audible to a dog, painting a vivid sonic landscape invisible to us. Armed with this newfound understanding, the detectives returned to Anna's cottage, this time accompanied by Max. They watched intently as he moved through the house, his nose twitching, his body tense. He paused at the back door, his low growl sending shivers down their spines. The scent of an unfamiliar person, someone who didn't belong in Anna's world, lingered in the air, a ghostly echo of a fatal encounter. The investigation took an unexpected turn when Max led them to a seemingly insignificant spot in the backyard, a patch of overgrown rose bushes near the back fence. He circled the area, whining softly, his body trembling with a mixture of fear and agitation. Careful examination revealed a small, partially hidden gate, its hinges rusty from disuse. It was a secret entrance, one that Anna rarely used, and even fewer people knew existed. The discovery of the gate sent a ripple of excitement through the investigation. Could this be how the killer had gained access to Anna's property, bypassing the more obvious entry points? Had Max witnessed someone entering or leaving through this clandestine passage on that fateful night? The silent witness, it seemed, was slowly but surely guiding them towards the truth. The forensic team descended upon the newly discovered gate with meticulous precision. Every inch of the surrounding area was combed for clues, every blade of grass, every fallen leaf scrutinized for any trace of evidence. Their efforts were rewarded with a series of seemingly insignificant but potentially crucial discoveries. A cigarette butt, discarded carelessly near the gate, yielded DNA evidence that didn't match Anna's or anyone else known to frequent the cottage. A partial shoe print, barely visible in the soft earth beneath the gate, hinted at a hasty departure, and a single strand of hair, snagged on a thorny rose bush, offered tantalizing possibilities for DNA analysis. The weight of evidence, though circumstantial, was beginning to mount. The hidden gate, the unfamiliar scent, the DNA evidence all pointed to the presence of an unknown individual at Anna's cottage on the night of her murder. Max, the silent witness, had led them to a breakthrough, a crack in the wall of secrecy that had surrounded the case. The detectives, their initial skepticism replaced by a growing sense of urgency, redoubled their efforts. They revisited their interviews, searching for any inconsistencies, any overlooked details that might shed light on the identity of the person who had used the hidden gate. They re-examined the forensic evidence, hoping for a match, a connection, anything that could break the case wide open. As the investigation progressed, the spotlight shifted to a shadowy figure, Anna's estranged brother, Mark. The two had a history of bitter disagreements over their late father's estate. Rumors of Mark's gambling debts and erratic behavior circulated through the town. Witnesses placed Mark near Anna's cottage before her death. He was seen arguing with her outside the grocery store. A neighbor saw his car parked near Anna's house on the afternoon of the murder.
I didn't do it. Our argument was blown out of proportion. I would never hurt Anna. I'm being framed.
When questioned, Mark denied involvement in his sister's death, but his alibi was shaky, his demeanor defensive. Detectives wondered if the truth lay beneath Mark's denials. The possibility of Mark's involvement cast a dark cloud over the investigation. The thought of a brother killing his sister was a bitter pill to swallow. The detectives found themselves at a crossroads. They needed more than suspicion. They needed concrete proof to link Mark to the crime, or exonerate him. The investigation into Anna's murder was a tapestry woven from seemingly disparate threads. A dog's unsettling behavior, a hidden garden gate, and the specter of a brother's betrayal. In the digital age, even traditional mysteries left a trail of technological breadcrumbs. Detectives, eyes fixed on laptops, sought answers within modern circuitry. Anna's smartphone, a sleek silver rectangle, contained a treasure trove of personal data. Her calls, her messages, her online activity, a digital diary of her life. Forensic technicians worked tirelessly to unlock Anna's phone secrets. Every notification, every deleted message held potential clues. They found deleted messages hinting at a conflict, a secret Anna was desperate to protect. The unknown number became the investigation's focal point. Tracing an unknown phone number in the vast sea of digital communication was akin to searching for a single grain of sand on a beach. Yet, the detectives, armed with the latest in surveillance technology and the unwavering support of their tech team, were determined to unravel this digital mystery. They knew that behind every phone number, every online alias, every digital footprint, there existed a real person, a human story waiting to be told. The unknown number, like a digital ghost, flitted through the digital ether, leaving behind the faintest of traces, a fleeting connection to a cell tower, a brief exchange of data with a Wi-Fi network, a whisper of its presence in the vast digital landscape. The technicians, their eyes glued to their screens, meticulously pieced together these fragments, slowly building a profile of the unknown user. Their investigation led them deep into the shadowy world of burner phones, prepaid SIM cards, and online anonymity services, a world where privacy was paramount and identities were as fluid as water. The digital ghost, it seemed, was determined to remain elusive, its secrets closely guarded behind layers of encryption and misdirection. But the detectives, their resolve strengthened by the knowledge that Anna deserved justice, refused to be deterred. They employed every tool at their disposal, from sophisticated tracking software to old-fashioned detective work, to penetrate the digital veil and unmask the person behind the unknown number.
Please, detective, you have to believe me. I loved Anna. I would never hurt her.
Mark, we need your cooperation. Tell me about your relationship with Anna and the argument you had with her.
I loved Anna. I would never hurt her.
Was it the heartfelt plea of an innocent man or a carefully crafted performance?
It was nothing, detective. Just a silly argument about money. Anna could be stubborn sometimes.
Mark, we know about the argument at the grocery store, your gambling debts, and that you were near Anna's house on the night of her murder. Tell me the truth.
I didn't mean to kill her.
Tell me what happened, Mark. Tell me everything.
I didn't mean to kill her.
Tell me everything. Tell me what happened, Mark.
I never intended for things to go this far. I lost my temper.
Even the most heartfelt remorse cannot bring back the dead.
It was supposed to be ours. The house, the money, everything. Anna threw it all away. She always had to be the righteous one. I needed that money. She didn't understand. I just wanted us to be a family again. I lost my temper, and now it's too late.
Did anyone help you plan this? Was anyone else involved in Anna's death? The lies we tell ourselves are often the most difficult to unravel. She just kept twisting the knife, detective. She told me I was worthless. I never meant to hurt Anna. I only wanted to scare her, but in the heat of the moment, my rage got the better of me.
She was my little sister, detective. I would have done anything for her. I just wanted us to be a family again. I lost my temper and now it's too late.
Mark, I need you to be completely honest with me.
It was Greg Marshall.
Mark, I need you to be completely honest with me. Did anyone help you plan this? Was anyone else involved in Anna's death?
It was Greg Marshall.
Greg Marshall, Anna's former business partner, the man whose fingerprints were found at the crime scene. Could he be the missing piece of the puzzle? The revelation sent shockwaves through the investigation. What began as a brother's betrayal revealed a complex conspiracy. Greg, driven by resentment over our failed business partnership, agreed to help me get rid of her. We planned it together, from the staged break-in to the disposal of the murder weapon. The pieces of the puzzle were now falling into place. Mark's confession provided the missing link, connecting the dots between the physical evidence and the digital ghost. They needed concrete evidence to tie Greg to the crime. The burner phone, a symbol of anonymity, became Greg's undoing. The digital forensics team traced the burner phone's digital footprint. They unearthed incriminating evidence revealing Greg's involvement. Text messages painted a picture of a man consumed by greed and revenge. The messages placed Greg in the vicinity of Anna's house on the night of her murder. Greg Marshall, we have a warrant for your arrest. You're being charged with the murder of Anna Collins.
You've got it all wrong. I had nothing to do with Anna's death. Mark's lying.
The game was up, the truth exposed. Greg Marshall found himself trapped in a web of his own making.
The trial of Greg Marshall and Mark Collins was a media spectacle. The courtroom packed with reporters, curious onlookers, and heartbroken members of the Rivermore community, all eager to witness justice being served. The prosecution, their case bolstered by Mark's confession, the damning digital evidence, and the testimony of witnesses who had observed the growing animosity between the defendants and their victim, presented a compelling narrative of greed, resentment, and cold-blooded murder. The defense attorneys, fighting an uphill battle against the overwhelming tide of evidence, attempted to paint a picture of two deeply troubled men, their judgment clouded by grief, their actions driven by desperation rather than malice. They argued that Mark's confession was coerced, his mental state fragile in the wake of his sister's death, and that the digital evidence, while incriminating, did not definitively prove their client's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. But their arguments, however skillfully crafted, could not erase the cold, hard facts of the case. The jury, after days of deliberation, returned a guilty verdict on all counts, convicting both Greg Marshall and Mark Collins of murder in the first degree. Section 5. The Echoes of Betrayal. The sentencing hearing was a somber affair, the courtroom filled with a palpable sense of loss and the weight of justice served. Anna Collins, her vibrant spirit, her infectious laughter, her unwavering kindness, was gone. A victim of a senseless act of violence fueled by greed, resentment, and the darkest impulses of the human heart. The judge, his voice heavy with emotion, sentenced both Greg and Mark to life in prison, without the possibility of parole. Their punishment a stark reminder of the gravity of their crimes. The courtroom erupted in a mixture of gasps and sobs, the emotional toll of the trial finally breaking through the carefully constructed facades of composure. As Greg and Mark were led away in handcuffs, their faces etched with a mixture of remorse and defiance, the echoes of their betrayal reverberated through the courtroom, a chilling reminder that even in the most idyllic of communities, darkness could lurk in the shadows, its tendrils reaching out to ensnare those who dared to succumb to its seductive whispers. Section 1. A town scarred, a truth revealed. The quaint town of Rivermore, its peace shattered by a senseless act of violence, slowly began to pick up the pieces. The trial had concluded, the verdict delivered, and justice in its own imperfect way had been served. Yet the scars of betrayal ran deep, a constant reminder of the darkness that had lurked beneath the surface of their idyllic community. The revelations of greed, resentment, and cold-blooded murder had shaken the town to its core, leaving many questioning the very foundations of their beliefs. Anna Collins, her warmth, her kindness, her infectious laughter, had been a beacon of light in their lives, and her absence left a void that seemed impossible to fill. The whispers started subtly, hushed conversations in the aisles of the local grocery store, knowing glances exchanged across the pews of the old church. The truth, once shrouded in the fog of speculation and rumor, had emerged with a stark clarity, revealing a side to their community they had preferred to ignore. Greg Marshall, the cunning businessman with a charming smile and a calculating mind, had been exposed as a ruthless schemer, driven by greed and a thirst for revenge. Mark Collins, the troubled younger brother, haunted by his demons and consumed by resentment, had become a tragic figure, a cautionary tale of a life derailed by poor choices and the corrosive power of envy. Section 2, In the Shadow of Justice. The trial had provided a semblance of closure, a sense that justice had been served. Yet for those closest to Anna, the pain of her loss lingered, a dull ache that refused to fade. Her friends and neighbors, their lives forever touched by her kindness, struggled to reconcile the vibrant woman they had known with the brutal nature of her death. In the aftermath of the trial, the community of Rivermore came together, drawing strength from their shared grief and their determination to honor Anna's memory. They organized fundraisers in her name, supporting the charities she had championed during her life. They planted a memorial garden in her honor, a place of quiet reflection and remembrance, where her vibrant spirit could live on in the rustling leaves and the fragrant blooms. But even as they mourned her loss, they also grappled with the unsettling truth that the perpetrators of this heinous crime had not been strangers but individuals they had known, interacted with, perhaps even considered friends. The betrayal cut deep, forcing them to confront the uncomfortable reality that darkness could lurk in the most unexpected of places, even within the hearts of those they believed they knew. The trial had ended, the sentences handed down, but the echoes of the crime lingered, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every precious moment. Section 3, The Lingering Bark. Max, the aging golden retriever, lived out his days in the loving care of Mrs. Hathaway. His mournful barks, once haunting, softened with time, replaced by a gentle whimper. The townsfolk often stopped by to visit Max, their pats and kind words a testament to the bond that had formed. He had become a symbol of hope, a furry reminder that even the smallest voice could make a difference.